Good morning, good morning, good morning, good morning, good morning. Welcome to the Freedom Fighter Radio, only here on the Ordinary Joe. We are broadcasting live on Facebook, YouTube, and Rumble. Having a little problem with our radio app, but I'm gonna fix that just in a moment so that our radio app listeners can tune in and listen to our good Thursday morning radio program. I'm looking forward to have an interaction with our live cast members. Unfortunately, there are more shadow banning going on. Can't mount a live cast on some of our channels here. It's nonstop, folks. The way Facebook is trying to eliminate our ability to reach our regular audience. That's fine. That's fine. We are gonna roll with the punches. We know exactly how to override all of the shadow banning. It might not happen during the live show, but we it is going to happen, folks. It is going to happen. If not on the live show, it'll be on the rerun. But we are very excited. This is the day that the Lord has made. Let us rejoice and be glad in it. Good morning, good morning, good morning. It's September 16, the 16th of December. You're listening to Freedom Fighter Radio. It's a beautiful day in the heart of the Great White North, Midtown, Toronto, Ontario, Canada. Many of our listeners on our radio app are listening to us from all over the world. So we're very excited about our Zeno FM radio app for the Freedom Fighter Radio Canada. Freedom Fighter Radio Canada radio app is an exciting addition to our live broadcasting every single day. But I am very happy and thankful to all of our listeners who are. Let me see here. What is wrong? Okay, there's nothing wrong with our mounting. Anyways, let's get started, folks. Sorry, I know. I hope you understand that I'm still kind of figuring out some of the technicalities on a radio station. You'll see that there are producers, there are tech people, and these are all separate jobs from the actual broadcaster himself. But on an internet radio program, just like what we have, everything is done by one person. And I do appreciate everybody's forgiveness when we kind of get lost in the setup here. Thank you for being for bearing with us. But anyways, let's get everything started, and then we'll figure things out as we go. Thank you. This is Joey Salvador, Freedom Fighter Radio, the Ordinary Joe Show. Only here on the Ordinary Joe. Let's get started right now.
Freedom Fighter Radio. What is up? Whoa! Shout out to Freedom Fighter Radio and Joe. You're doing great work, brother, and I love it. All right, always.
Make sure you listen to the Freedom Fighter Radio on the Ordinary Show.
I'm on Freedom Fighter Radio on the Ordinary Joe Show. That's quite a mouthful.
Yes.
Hey guys, this is Chris Sky. Listen to Freedom Fighter Radio. They're here today, back in the blue, and so am I.
It's just another Ordinary Joe Show. Thank you, folks, for joining in. Welcome to all our listeners on our Freedom Fighter Radio app, sponsored by Zeno.fm. Welcome to all of our Rumble viewers. As you know, our main channels are still being shadow banned. And not only shadow banned, we're not allowed, we're restricted. It says temporarily restricted from going live on certain channels, which is pretty much our bread and butter, where all of our precious listeners and our participants are coming in to join us. We'll get this right. The more we do it, the better we'll get, the better we'll be able to do this internet radio era that we live in. One of our future endeavors is to hope to get also licensed to broadcast on shortwave and maybe AM. But shortwave is the way to go, folks. Shortwave is a Freedom Fighters radio, actually. A shortwave, broadcasting on shortwave is the way to go for they even call it, back in the 60s, they call it the pirate radio. I'm just so happy that we can get connected, even though we're not able to connect with every single one. 15,000 on one of the pages who said, I'm subscribing, I'm liking, and I want to listen to the message of this radio show on a daily basis. And we're not even allowed to go there and broadcast. That's fine. We're going to roll with the punches, as I said. And then we have another 3,001, and we have a 21,000 Facebook page, 21,000 followers for the Filipino Facebook page. Well, we have YouTube that has 2,000 subscribers. Rumble is brand new, and with Zeno FM radio app, we are not able to get a collection. There's no subscribe button on our Zeno app. It's basically you download it, you download the app, and then you get notified every time we go live. I believe that's how it works. But if you already downloaded the app, which is my iPad's not working right now, so that we can check how I'm supposed to check how loud, how clear we are as we broadcast on Zeno FM. I forgot to get breakfast today, folks. I'm just so excited setting this up. At any rate, we are still blessed. I am still thankful and I'm still excited. Even though there's a lot of kinks, there's a lot of things that we are still learning as we go. How do we do this efficiently? We'll get it right as we go along. Pirate Radio is here to survive and to thrive. And thank you to all who are tuning in. I can see the heat map starting to fire up all over the world. We got Canadians, Americans, British, Australians who usually tune in on our radio app. So I'm very, very happy. Although, oh my goodness, look at that. Pages, groups that normally are part of the channels. I just upgraded our StreamYard so that we can simultaneously broadcast on 8 different channels. And we just started paying the upgrade package, and we're not even able to use it because oh my goodness, I registered. Let me see here about 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So 27 different channels for different kind of purposes. I have some Filipino shows in Filipino language weighing in on the election and what's going on in Canada. I have I used to have a lot of entertainment channels where I entertain people with the music scene and the indie scenes in the city. Good morning, David. How are you? I'm so happy that you're giving me company today. David, as usual, they added one more channel. They said that we're gonna go live on today, but we are gonna be happy. We're gonna continue to be joyful because God is our provider. God will make a way for us. The censorship is relentless. The manipulation of our message, especially on an election season like where we are in. They tried their best not to allow our message to go out there. But again, we'll roll with the punches, and still, I'm happy that our Freedom Fighter Radio app is fired up and ready to go. Happy to get my morning Joe. I'm happy to get my morning Christopher. Well, thank you, Christopher, for a generous donation you sent over yesterday. Um, Without you folks who are wonderful, and David Carlson is our regular donor, a monthly donor. Thank you, David, as well to you. And to those who I'm not able to mention, we have 4 regular donors on our Patreon right now. We are praying and hoping, and we are believing that God will allow us to increase that by 1,000 before the end of 2021. Can you believe that our faith is being tested? But faith is like a muscle. This is what I learned when I was a youth leader. My pastor said that faith is like a muscle. If you don't use your faith, it's gonna atrophy. It's like your muscle, if it's not being exercised on a daily basis, it's gonna shrink, folks. Your muscles are gonna shrink. You have to exercise faith. And the more you exercise faith, the more it gets stronger, the bigger it gets. But I can be a 100% first person testimony to all those people who don't have not an experience in the past how to exercise faith. I'm gonna tell you, folks, one of the biggest thing that God has tested me and improving me in terms of faith is when it comes to faith in having a regular income. I grew up in a family in the Philippines when I was in my young years, up to my 23-year-old age when I came to Canada and exercised an extreme exercise of faith coming to Canada on my own. I have half brothers and sisters back in those days, but I don't know any other than my half brothers and sisters who were at that time, I am sort of like not on top of their priority to assist. And even I remember in 1995 when I first came to Canada in 1993, and then I went back home to the Philippines, stayed with my parents for 2 more years, and really reflect and I want to take that time to make a decision. Do I want to go back to Canada? Actually, that was not the reason. I went back to the Philippines because I was elected in a local, I was elected in office in a local district. In the Philippines, we had what we call the youth version or the youth arm of the government. It's like a youth government we call Sangguniang Kabataan. The former name for Sangguniang Kabataan was coined, actually created by the late Ferdinand Marcos, uh, and they call him the dictator of the Philippines because he ruled the Philippines for 20 years, and he's called the Philippine tyrant, and they accuse him of amassing so much wealth when he was in power. I'm not sure about that anymore because there are other research now coming out that he was actually wealthy even before he became the president of the Philippines. So I'm on the fence when it comes to the idea of either vilifying Ferdinand Marcos as the biggest, um, what is the word for it? The bad guy in the movie, villain, the biggest villain in Philippine history, or the biggest hero of Philippine history. So it depends on who you listen to. Furthermore, because for many is a villain, and for many he's a hero. So again, depends on who you listen to. But the biggest lesson of what I learned, both from my personal experience being under um, both Ferdinand Marcos and Rodrigo Duterte. Okay, so I always live in Canada since 1993. I only went to the Philippines to visit twice since 1990. Sorry. So I first came to Canada in 1993. I went back home, came back to Canada to settle for good in 1995. And from 1995 to 2021, I only been to the Philippines twice in my entire, how many years is that? 95, 2005, 2015. That's 20 years in 2015. So 2020, it's 25 years. So I've been in Canada for 26 years straight, if I don't count my first landing in the Philippines in 1993. David Carlson's giving us a comment here for all our radio listeners. David Carlson commented uh, a message saying, Richard Rupp, my co host last night, was right. Premier Kenny, Sandro, and Dina Hincho, DID, implement COVID passport yesterday. What evil tyrants they have there in Alberta. I'm so disappointed with Jason Kenny. I'm telling you, folks. And this is very much in line in what I'm talking about right now. Email sent to the Minister of Health for the province of Alberta this morning. Show me The science. Oh, thank you for that. You send your a personal an email to Minister of Health personally from you, David. That's wow. You got the chutzpah. I love that about you, brother. Keep that up. That is amazing. So on the comment section, we have David and we have Christopher. But we are going to perform our radio show as if we are performing to a million people, because we don't know how many people are listening as well on the radio app. The radio app, we can only see the map glowing. We don't see how many people have tuned in. Oh, by the way, I am going to start fire up Telegram soon because I realized because our radio app doesn't have a comment section. I think what we want to do moving forward is that we're going to simultaneously fire up our Telegram while our radio app is live. And we are going to I haven't figured it out yet, but I kind of figured it out in my brain how we're going to have it. So we're going to have a Telegram. So I have a Telegram account as a user and I joined a lot of groups. So I have to figure out how to create a group or we'll figure that out. And then we're going to talk about our Telegram group while broadcasting live on Freedom Fighter Radio. And David, you did indeed send that email. You are awesome, brother. Keep that up. We need the chutzpah from our Canadian ordinary Jane and Joe members of society, and keep sharing all those kinds of stories, and let us know if they respond to your email. Let us know if they respond like not the auto response, where. But let us know how that goes, David. I'm very excited about that. So yesterday we're talking about Mark Zuckerberg's interview with The Verge. Let me see if I can bring up the link again. And we're talking about metaverse, and we're talking about how everything, all the internet, will actually go away. It will be obsolete, and the internet will be replaced by metaverse. Metaverse. I don't know how to pronounce that properly. Let's just settle with one version. Let's say metaverse. Okay. Okay. From now on, I'm gonna call it metaverse. Um. So for those who will be listening to the radio show or this entire episode today on the rerun or on the post, folks, please continue to share the link. Even though we're not live anymore, after we go off live, and this get posted automatically on all our channels on Facebook, YouTube, Rumble. For the radio app, I have to actually upload it as a podcast after the live. It doesn't get saved automatically. But I would like to invite everybody who's listening, all our followers. So we have one page with 15,000 followers, Freedom Fighter Radio Canada. We're not able to go live there. That's fine. We're gonna post this as a post afterwards. But if you're listening on the post and not on the live, please come and subscribe on a Rumble. Our Rumble channel will eventually become our main channel because, of course, on Facebook we cannot speak freely from our hearts. We have to almost like censor ourselves so that we don't get knocked out during a live show. We'll roll with the punches, but that's how it is with Facebook. But we are going to entice and invite all of those who are following us already. 15,000 on Freedom Fighter Radio. We got another 3,000 on You Are the Resistance page. I got 21,000 on It's Just Another Ordinary Kuya Joe Show. It's Just Another Ordinary Joe Show, 21,000. The Filipino version of that, which is It's Just Another Ordinary Kuya Joe Show. Kuya means a big brother in Filipino. That has 29,000 members. Okay, so the Ordinary Joe Show channels, they didn't really subscribe to our channels because of our freedom fighting message. But many of those especially the Filipino Canadians who are in our Freedom Fighter Radio, listening to our message about our freedom and about the tyranny that they have been rolling out against us. Many of them are also following. It's just another ordinary Joe show. But the entire goal, folks, is as we gather today, most of you will be listening to this on the post live or the post. Please come to our. There's a link on the bottom, and you can see the link to our Rumble. Because eventually, what we're gonna do in the future is that we are going to simulcast all of on all of our channels, but we are going to sever our connection from Facebook, 20, 30 minutes into the show, so that we can speak freely after we invite everybody to tune in to Rumble or the radio app. That will be our future strategy for this radio show. And so, thank you, folks, for sticking with me and being patient as we figure out some of the kinks, um, doing this simultaneously with multiple channels, and some of them are not on social media, but that's fine. So, don't go away. This will be our first break for the day. And thank God. And I'm gonna when we come back, I'm gonna tell some stories about faith, my experience about exercising faith, and why I believe it works. And nobody can tell me faith doesn't work because I experienced it firsthand many, many times. Sometimes I do still feel some doubt, when it comes to finances, health, and doubt is the enemy of faith. Doubt is the opposite of faith. Again, this is not a religious show, but I'm the ordinary Joe, and the only powers I don't have superpowers, I don't have great wealth, I don't have great influence. All I have, my only superpower, folks, the only superpower that I don't even hide, the only superpower I have is my connectivity to the highest being there is, the creator of the universe. Through prayer and faith, I can do all things through Christ who strengthens me. And because you're listening to Ordinary Joe, I will share with you what I go through and my experience. I'm not trying to convert you, I'm just telling you firsthand experience to many of the things that I experience in life that you might pick up some lessons from. And with that, folks, don't go away. We'll be right back. You're listening to Freedom Fighter Radio, only here on the Ordinary Joe Show on this beautiful Thursday morning. Don't go away. We'll be right back after these short messages.
Freedom Fighter Radio. What is up?
Whoa!
Shout out to Freedom Fighter Radio. And Joe, you're doing great work, brother, and I love it. All right? Always.
Make sure you listen to the Freedom Fighter Radio on the Ordinary Show.
I'm on Freedom Fighter Radio on the Ordinary Joe Show. That's quite a mouthful.
Yes. Hey guys, this is Chris Guy. Listen to Freedom Fighter Radio. They're here today, back in the blue, and so am I.
Please consider.
Canada's best days are ahead of us, but we need to get the country back on its feet and back on track. 12 years in the Air Force taught me you need a plan for every mission. Canada's recovery plan will get the economy surging in the right direction for all Canadians from every walk of life. Recover 1 million jobs, tough anti-corruption laws, mental health action, securing Canadian-made supplies, balancing the budget. Enough talk. Let's get to work. Secure the future. Vote Conservative.
Please consider supporting the OJTV production costs and be an insider member for only $3 a month. Go to patreon.com/OJTV Canada. Thank you for your continued support. Canadians all across the country are sick and tired of the lies, the fear-mongering, and the hate speech they hear from the mainstream media. Download the free radio app, Freedom Fighter Radio. Click the link below, scan our QR code, join our mailing list, and get a free download of our Freedom Fighter Radio app only here on OJTV on The Ordinary Joe Show.
Canada's best days are ahead of us, but we need to get the country back on its feet and back on track. 12 years in the Air Force taught me you need a plan for every mission. Canada's recovery plan will get the economy surging in the right direction for all Canadians from every walk of life. Recover 1 million jobs, tough anti-corruption laws, mental health action, securing Canadian-made supplies, balancing the budget. Enough talk. Let's get to work. Secure the future. Vote Conservative.
Freedom Fighter Radio, what is up? Whoa!
Shout out to Freedom Fighter Radio. And Joe, you're doing great work, brother, and I love it. All right? Always.
Make sure you listen to the Freedom Fighter Radio on the Ordinary Show.
I'm on Freedom Fighter Radio on the Ordinary Joe Show. That's quite a mouthful.
Yes.
Hey guys, this is Chris Guy. Listen to Freedom Fighter Radio. They're here today, back in the blue, and so am I.
Please consider supporting the OJTV production costs and be an insider member for only $3 a month. Go to patreon.com/OJTV Canada. Thank you for your continued support. Canadians all across the country are sick and tired of the lies, the fear-mongering, and the hate speech they hear from the mainstream media. Download the free radio app, Freedom Fighter Radio. Click the link below, scan our QR code, join our mailing list, and get a free download of our Freedom Fighter Radio app only here on OJTV on The Ordinary Joe Show.
Yo, it's just another Ordinary Joe show. This is Freedom Fighter Radio, only here on the Ordinary Joe. Good Thursday morning to all our beautiful freedom fighter all across the world. I'm so happy. I am so glad that you and we are friends. You are my brother in the fight. You're my sister in the fight. You are my sister in the Lord. You're my brother in the Lord. And we are going to win this together. And tyranny, as they are sticking out their ugly head and they're threatening and they're fear mongering and they're lying and they're spewing hate speech, even using our mainstream media. We're not going to give in. We're not going to roll. We're not going to roll over and die. We are going to roll with the punches, but we are going to punch back. And we are not going to give up. Folks, we are going to introduce a new segment in our morning, Joe. Thank you. I might be using that, brother. Who said that? Christopher. Happy to get my morning, Joe. Thank you. You're so wonderful members of our audience, members on the radio show. I'm really happy that you guys are my brothers and my sisters in the Lord and my brothers and sisters in the fight. And we are going to thrive. They might try their best, but we are still going to thrive. We are going to introduce a new segment before we go to the meat of our messages on our morning Joes or our morning shows. And I don't have an official name for it yet, but let's for today, let's just call it the group chat segment where I go to a bunch of group chats that we have created for all the freedom fighters. And in the group chats, we always find many, many valuable information that everybody's sharing around with everyone. And some information, sometimes people share video clips, sometimes people just have long conversations. Sometimes people are fighting at each fighting with each other, freedom fighters, like quarreling and bickering with each other. But that's part of life, folks. That's part of being free. That's part of being a member of a free society. People can disagree with each other. Hello, Fabien, my brother. It's a good day. Yes, indeed. It's a good day, my brother. I will let you and audience know if I get a response from the Minister of Health. And I would like to hear what's going to happen. And folks, David, we are friends on Facebook. Let me know ahead of time and I will set up an audio call where you can join me. And I invite every single one of you. There's only like a few of us here on the show right now, but you are the most wonderful, loyal listeners of Freedom Fighter Radio. And I would like to invite you, folks, give me a call. Let me know ahead of time so that the ringing will not happen during the live show. But let me know ahead of time if you want to join me. We'll create a segment in the show where we will have conversations, and I would like you to join me in the virtual studio so that the audience members can also hear your voice. I haven't heard David Carlson's voice yet. We always communicate with each other here via text on the comment section. Christopher Nelson, a wonderful man who is volunteering to learn some editing, and that's my fault that I haven't really taught you yet, Christopher. I'm just like running out of time all the time. It seems like there's so many things that I'm trying to chase to just keep up with time. So, but Sundays are the best. I'd like to really help you learn some of the basics, and thank you for also doing some of the initiative of learning on your own, some YouTube videos that I sent over. Because man, we're gonna get busy because God's gonna pour His blessings upon our radio shows, and I know that hundreds and thousands, if not in the millions, of people will descend upon our radio show, and people will start listening in, because people are getting tired of the lies and the deceit that they're hearing from the mainstream media. So, David, I'm looking forward to that, brother. If you get a response from Dina Hincho, and Hee Haw is how she's called by our friend. Oh, by the way, today's Thursday. I'm supposed to be every Thursday. We are supposed to have a segment for Lawyers for Truth, which is a volunteer lawyers group from the beautiful province of Alberta. I have some files here, but I'm kind of sort of like holding on to our files until I think I'm suspecting it's going to be the fourth week next week when we have restrictions to go live on the big channels. So I'm holding on. I'm kind of banking some of these pre-recorded episodes, and there's a lot of things to learn every time our Lawyers for Truth members of the Law Society shares stuff with us. There's always a lot of things to learn from it. So, but I'm kind of banking. I'm holding on to it because I'm waiting that we are able to broadcast live on those big channels so that more and more people will benefit from the live show. And I like to have the interaction, the conversation with our fellow members of our radio listeners. Oh, because folks, even though I'm the one who's broadcasting, monologuing here, I'm also a listener to the show. I'm one with the ordinary Janes and Joes. I'm an ordinary Joe, just participating here. Let's put it this way. I am facilitating, but this show is of the people, for the people, by the people. So I'm looking forward. Fabien, hey, good morning, brother. Philly, Corview, David Carlson, Christopher Nelson, all of you, you are invited to come and join me on the show so that everybody will hear your voice. We'll create a segment for it. But please private message me or even leave a comment here on the comment section. Let me know if you're interested to come and join me and be an alternative voice in the radio show so that people are not just always listening to my monologues. It'll be awesome to have to and if, for me as well. It'll be awesome to hear the sound of your voices. I'm pretty sure we'll have great conversations, interactions if we do that. So folks, we are going to fire up Telegram. I have to figure it out how to do it, but if anybody can give me some guidance how to create, I want to create two groups on Telegram. One is with the interaction, where people can leave messages and share some stuff, video clips, posts, news, information that they gather. And the other one, which is just, announcement kind of, just like, if you guys are familiar with, I'm just looking up my Telegram right now, but on Telegram, I joined the Druthers News and Information Telegram account, and it has 1,347 subscribers. But that particular Telegram account, people cannot leave messages or cannot interact, but it's a place to read things. So I would like to have two kinds of groups on Telegram. One where, we are having interaction, and the other one which is just broadcasting news. I don't know if we can do audio on Telegram or even video, live video feeds. I'm very new to Telegram, but if anybody else can give me some guidance. It looks like you can post video, but I don't know if you can go live video on Telegram. So if anybody can give me some guidance how to manipulate Telegram, I'm very new to it, but I'd like to learn more. Like I said, our radio app on Zeno FM, it doesn't have a comment section. That's the downside of the Zeno app. But the big side of the radio app is that we can say anything, and we won't get censored on the radio app, and also on Rumble. We won't get censored in Rumble. But everybody who's listening right now, either on live right now, specifically now, or if you're listening now, because this is a post after we go live, please go to our Rumble and please download our radio app. And you can see the one on the bottom. I mistakenly put the QR code on the top left or the top right. Depends on, yeah, if you're looking at the screen. So the top right of the screen, you can also see a QR code there. Please scan it, join our mailing list so that I can send you the link to the free download of our radio app. Um, we talked about Telegram. We're gonna fire up Telegram so that everybody who's listening on the radio app can interact with us. Anybody who can give me help with that, I'll totally appreciate that. But the other thing I just mentioned today is I want to introduce one of a brand new segment on the show before we go to the more, in-depth conversation about some research. I'd like to go to our group chat segment because we have a number of group chats that people are uh, so engaged in. For example, we have Power Drill Politics Fearless Community. And how many members in that group chat? I think there's about 70 people, 70 freedom fighters in that group chat that are just totally um, super engaged. So right now I'm copying our Rumble link and I'm just going to say there, we are live now. And let's see if people will respond and join us on the live show. But on our brand new segment called Let's Go to the Group Chat, we are going to check out some of the things that they share here. Not the long videos, but just like the little tiny TikToks. And then, and some of them are very long, but some of them are just post, photo post. And so, what I like to do is for us to listen to some of them and weigh in on what's going on. So I think this is the most current news kind of newscast is when we have group chats like this because everybody are able to contribute. So let's start with the angry Albertan. I see that our sister Christina has shared something from the angry Albertan, and this is 50 seconds long, and we'll see what it is about, and then we'll comment on it. Is that okay with you, everybody? Let's get started with that. So this is the very first clip on a brand new segment called "Let's Go to the Group Chat." Let's listen in. Okay. All right, folks. My mistake. My mistake. It looks like the 50 seconds is the countdown to a live show, which is a 2 hour live show. So that's not, I thought there's a 50-second clip. So that's my mistake. Let's look for something else. That's too long for us to cover. So let's look for some of the a lot of TikToks, short messages, and short clips that people are sharing on the messenger apps. Let's go to Freedom Fighter Radio group chat number 10. This one has at least 20 members. And let's look at some of the posts. Okay, there's a post here called from the live site. And the title of the post is Ontario government polls citizen on support for removing COVID-19 nonconformists from their homes. Oh wow. That is crazy. They're really thinking about that, folks? Well, I heard of shielding. Shielding is also a crazy idea, but that's what how the tyrants think. But let's look at this post here. It was a shared post by one of our uh, group chat members. What's his name here? Dennis Lalish. And he shared an article. We're not going to read the entire article, but the title is Ontario government's poll citizens on support for removing COVID-19 nonconformists from their homes. And Ontario is conducting a gaslighting kind of campaign here. I think whenever they say they want to poll people, it's actually they're the ones who's giving the thoughts and the ideas for people to think a certain way. For example, that guy I saw the other day, a video I think from New Brunswick or maybe Nova Scotia. A guy was talking about he's running out of patience for people, unvaccinated people. I really am very cringed up and very appalled by such a video because what they're doing, they're gaslighting and they're sort of like virtue signaling their righteous indignation to people. And what they want, I think, what they want to see is people to react in such a way that they will imitate their projection of anger and hatred towards us, freedom lovers, who just want to choose or what's good for our body, right? um okay, we got some. Let's go back to that. That's crazy because there are section 2. Everyone has the following fundamental freedoms: freedoms of religion, expression, peaceful assembly, and association. So let's just go to a section here on the article about some of Rocco Galati, I think, weighed in on this. According to constitutional lawyer Rocco Galati, all of the COVID-19 inspired measures, including but not limited to lockdowns, vaccine mandates, vaccine passports, masking, and limits on gatherings, violate Section 2, Section 7, and Section 15 of the Canadian Charter of Rights and Freedoms. So, Section 2. What is Section 2? Everyone has the following fundamental freedoms: freedoms of religion, freedoms of religion, freedom of expression, and peaceful assembly and association. That's section 2. And what can we see in section 7? Section 7 says everyone has the right to life, liberty, and security of person and the right not to be deprived thereof, except in accordance with the principles of fundamental justice. That was section 7. Now, let's go to section 15, a parenthesis 1 or I think it's 1. And it says this: every individual is equal before and under the law and has the right to the equal protection and equal benefit of the law without discrimination. In his call to action in response to the poll, Hillier told the public, if this bothers you, the type of question asked in the poll, if you are concerned about the direction we're headed, then please consider the following. If you live outside my riding with a PC, Progressive Conservative MPP, send them these screenshots if you are a constituent. Consider reaching out to Premier and ask, why is your government contemplating removing my rights and liberties? Very good point. I think this is Randy Hillier, right? Talking. Okay, so he's asking people to do this. Send the Premier screenshots and ask the Premier this question. Why is your government contemplating on removing my rights and liberties? Why is your government talking about forcefully removing citizens from their home and setting up Soviet style checkpoints? Ask via email, phone, letter, and social media. If you share on social media, be sure to share with me and the press. And that was Randy Hilliard. This is a good campaign, folks. I think we should participate. And thank you to who shared this again. Thank you to Dennis Larish for sharing this life site article that is titled Ontario Government Polls Citizen on Support for Removing COVID-19 Nonconformists from Their Homes. I think this is in line, like I said, and like we said many times on the show, all of the tyrants all across the world, they're in lockstep with each other. So I heard something similar like this in the United States where the president said, they're rolling up, they're drumming up this idea about what they call shielding. They're shielding members of the family from other members of the family who are unvaccinated. And folks, I don't know why has the entire society, and we've been speaking about it even from the very beginning, when they are misleading people to believe that the unvaccinated are dangerous. How was the unvaccinated dangerous? uh, it's just baffles me how people have accepted this fallacy. First of all, both the unvaccinated and the vaccinated can be carriers. It doesn't matter. But those who are super spreaders are those who has symptoms. For example, you're sneezing and coughing, then you can spread it everywhere, right? And I do believe that it makes a little bit of sense for people who are already huffing, coughing, and sneezing to put some mask on, and that kind of slows down the spewing around the bacteria and the virus. So for them, number one, the best idea for someone who's already sick, sneezing, coughing around, stay at home. Those are the people who need to stay at home. If you're sick, stay at home. That really helps the rest of society to go move forward. If you're not sick, you're not going to be a super spreader. Never in the entire history of medical history where a non what they call now asymptomatic, there's there are no proof, there is no science behind asymptomatic spread. The burden of proof is on those who are calling upon the lie and spreading the lie that asymptomatic people can be spreaders. There's no scientific proof of that whatsoever. So they need to provide that. That's the onus on them to prove that. But anyways, let's pick one more topic from our our comment, not comment, but our group chats. When we don't have a lot of commenters on the comment section, let's go to the group chats. We have about 20 group chats here that we can go to. So let's go to Freedom Fighter Radio 20. How many people in that group chat? Some of these I started a long time ago, and people just took it and run with it. What are some of the things here? Oh, there's a poster being shared by Michelle. Let me see if I can screenshot. Northern Freedom Alliance, worldwide rally for freedom, no vaccine passports anywhere. The time is now. This is an announcement. Calling all people that believe in freedom and oppose the vaccine passports to stand united this Saturday. Marches and rallies will be happening all over the world. Let me see. Is this still current? September 18th. So this Saturday. So this is current. The time is now, calling all people that believe in freedom and oppose the vaccine passports to stand united this Saturday. Marches and rallies will be happening all over the world. This needs to be the biggest rally yet, as medical tyranny isn't knocking on your door, it's kicked and the the door and it's already inside your house. Boots on the ground. Together we can stop this. Do not bend a knee, do not give an inch. Everyone's freedom is at stake. The passport is just the beginning. Mask, unmask, vax, unvax, all are welcome to believe in freedom, be on the right side of history. I believe that. Amen. So Saturday, September 18th, 1 to 4 p.m., Lee Park in North Bay. So all of our anybody listening to us from North Bay, we want to increase a lot of listenership in North Bay as well. Actually, folks, help us to reach a lot of small towns and small municipalities all across Ontario. I think there's about 200 tiny towns, about 200 tiny municipalities with their own mayors, with their own council all over Ontario. That should be one of our goals to reach. So, for those who live in North Bay, September 18th, 1 p.m. to 4 p.m., you are coming out to do some protest. This is actually a good time to for me to mention something that I heard from Gerald Salente 2 days ago or yesterday, and it's an affirmation of what I've been sharing with you guys as well. I've shared it with many in other shows a couple of times. Things that I've learned from my own personal experience from previous revolutions that are successful, which namely 1986 People Power Revolution. That one I witnessed firsthand with my own eyes and how successful it become. So I've been talking about how we in 1986 I saw people coming to EDSA. That is a it's actually like our 401 in the Philippines. Highway 401. It's multi-lane highway. They shut it down. People flooded our version of 401, which is called EDSA. EDSA. EDSA is an abbreviation for a name of a person. The highway was named after that LPD or something. And people descended down on EDSA by the millions. Of course, it started small, started in the hundreds of thousands, actually even less, tens of thousands to hundreds of thousands to millions. But when they come, they stay. So if my memory serves me right, I remember back in 1986, people will come and they will stay, and more people will come and they will stay. And some people actually brought their sleeping bags, their folding beds, tiny tents, and food so that they can stay and not leave. And those who need to go home, some people will come and bring them food, and they will take turns. Some people will go home and sleep, and some people will stay overnight, have a vigil. And this happened many days when the entire country was just shut down. The entire, I would say, 8 lane each direction highway, so 16 lane highway, a 16-lane highway called EDSA in the Philippines. People descended on down to it, but people didn't leave until they got what they want, right? So even when the tyrant Ferdinand Marcos sent over the tanks and the helicopters, the tanks can't even move anywhere because it's just flooded of people everywhere, and they cannot move unless they want to run over the people. Which at one point there was a rumor that went around that the president actually asked them to run over people, but I'm not sure if that rumor is true. But what's true about that? If that is true, the 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 military didn't follow that order. That's something I can vouch for. The military didn't follow that order. Actually, they coined that 1986 revolution. They said that it is the very first bloodless revolution. I don't know about that. I think I saw some blood. But anyways, when I kept on talking about that, where people should, if we really want a turnover, let's just talk about Ontario because this is where I live and many of you live. If just let's take Ontario for example, if people descend upon the Ontario Parliament, and I mentioned this last night with Richard, and people don't leave, they come there by hundreds of thousands, surround that thing, that Ontario Parliament on University Avenue. Surround it. People don't leave. They stay overnight for days. And, people will come and take turns, so that nobody leaves. We start in the tens of thousands and then the hundreds of thousands and then millions. That's the idea. Because what I witnessed in the Philippines in 1986, Gerald Salente was just talking about exactly what people did during the Berlin Wall. You know how Reagan said to Gorbachev, Mr. Gorbachev, tear down this wall. And the wall was torn down. But it was not the work of one American president, it was the work of the ordinary Jane and Joe uh, Germans who tore down the wall. And I think we can tear down the wall of tyranny in Ontario if people will just take some courage and take a couple of weeks off. If everybody takes a couple of weeks off and we all descend upon the Ontario Parliament down there on University Avenue and we stay there for days until the MSM cannot ignore it anymore. You know how we have from time to time we have that worldwide rally, and I think the biggest that we had in Toronto was in almost 100,000. Is it? I wasn't there that day, but I heard and I saw some videos of it, and people were saying, "Wow, the crowd is thick. Everybody is so excited, and the morale is so high. Everybody's encouraged, and everybody's telling everyone." But mainstream media didn't even cover it. So those who are asleep never thought that our strength. They never got inspired by the strength that's building up in the freedom movement because they never knew. I remember Colin McDonald, one of the form. I think he's still a leader, although he lives in Mexico now. But the former active leader of Stanford T. Colin McDonald, he was telling a story to me and was saying that right after that big rally downtown Toronto, which mainstream media never covered, they went to march in some small towns just outside of the city, and they found out that nobody heard about this big rally that we just had in Toronto, and he even has to show them footage of it on his phone, and that was the first time they saw the accumulation of freedom fighters coming downtown. You know what, folks? Because the tyrants have the monopoly with the media, they have the money, they have the arms, they have the guns, they have everything. And what do we have? Well, honestly, we have nothing. But there's only one thing that we have that they don't have. We have faith, we are on the side of the truth, and God is with us. And that should be enough to encourage every single one of you folks to know that we can win this. We can. And if there's a mission that I will take upon myself every time we have this radio show, is if I can, and if God will allow me and empower me to do it, maybe if I cannot accomplish anything else, but if I can accomplish this, just this one thing, to encourage you, to motivate you, to speak to your spirit and say, hey, we can do this if we're together. Take courage. Fear not. It's always the fear. The biggest enemy is the fear. If that's our biggest enemy, actually, that's also the biggest tool for the tyrants. They know how powerful the tool of uh, the tool of using fear to to discourage people from taking action. But folks, think about what I just said today. Gerald Salente uh, just validated what I've been saying all along. My observation, what happened in the Philippines, is that people come, people stay. Hundreds of thousands descended upon the place you want to show force and you want to show solidarity, but you don't leave that place. And for us in Ontario, it will be University Avenue, the Parliament building. And of course, yes, some people will get hurt because the police will pick them up and force them. But you know what? Let me tell you, they can only do that if we are only in the hundreds. But if tens of thousands of Ontarians come down there, and I believe we can come down there in the millions. How many millions are there in Ontario? What's our population? 10 million people in Ontario? If we only get 10% of that, a million people come down around the area of the Parliament building. What do you call that again? University, Queen's Park. Queen's Park. Even if we just if we're able to rally, mobilize only 10,000 in the beginning, and you don't leave, nobody leaves. 10,000 come there, nobody leaves. Okay, the police will try and remove. Okay, are they able to remove 10,000? I'm already starting to doubt that they have the manpower to remove 10,000. Okay, all right. So they might use fire trucks and use water cannons and use tear gas. Okay, they might be effective to remove a few hundreds. But then, okay, so for the first couple of days, you have 10,000, but then people keep on descending down that place, and the 10,000 now becomes 30,000. The 30,000 becomes 50,000. 50,000 becomes 100,000. 100,000 becomes 200,000. What can they do? What can the police do? Are they going to do a Tiananmen Square in Canada on their own people? I don't think so. Tiananmen Square will very be unlikely. And if it happens, man, it's going to be a real revolution in Canada. And it might be the catalyst to free this country. Unfortunately, some of us might have to lay down our lives. I'm not volunteering. I have a child, and I'm not saying you should volunteer. But I'm just telling the fact that if they really want to push for their tyranny, there might be some of us that we have to lay down our lives for the rest of us, and you will be the heroes of the rest of us. If I was younger and I was single, that and I don't have a child, that would be something I'll be willing to do. And my parents will talk me out of it for sure. And I almost did things similar to that kind of martyrdom in my younger years, where I don't care about what people think of me losing, precious things about myself or being hurt. But when I was younger, I I think about it less, or I doubt less when I was younger in walking into some kind of sacrificial, um, sacrificing myself, something like that. But we might need it. We might need some very fearless, courageous people to be at the front lines there. Well, I'm not saying I'm the most courageous person. I'm not the most fearless, but indeed, I'm gonna speak here, even though I'm also afraid. I'm gonna be upfront. I'll be very honest with you. A lot of times, all of this fear mongering kind of get into my nerves, into my spirit, and I also fear. I'm not the most courageous person there is, but I know this for a fact. We really need courage, folks. Let's encourage each one of us. I don't have the source. I I'm not the most courageous out there, but I really do believe we do need to be fearless. If we are going to win back our country, we cannot do the entire country altogether unless everybody really be in unison here. But let's just take a small step. First, let's win our city. I think we can win our province. We can take back our province, but this is one of the keys. If we are going to protest, let's make sure that it doesn't go to waste. If you are going to sacrifice one afternoon already, might as well take a week off. Why not? How much do we want this? Do we really want to get our freedoms back? Do we really want to get our country back? Let's start with our province in Ontario. How bad do we want this? How much would it hurt you to take 5 days off from work or 10 days off? You might lose 10 days of salary this time, but if the tyrants go full throttle on us, you might lose the entire ability to make living a living for yourself. We might all be rolled into UBI and stay at home, never come out. We'll extract your human value, your human resource from your home, but we don't need you roaming around. Because remember, the Matrix agent Smith said that we are the virus, the humans are the virus. He can smell how uh, how ugly smelling humans are. Let's go to our comment section. I didn't realize, folks, that it's accumulating here. Thank you for joining me. I thought it'll be just be a monologue with nobody listening today, because we cannot, when we're not allowed to go live in um, most of our big channels. This is my personal profile and my one of my old channels here and Rumble, but we are also on our radio app. So I'm gonna continue to be happy. Well, let's go back. Some of our comments here that I didn't see accumulating already. Let's start with David. He said, "I will let you and the audience know if I get a response from our Minister of Health." I think I read that one already earlier. So let's jump to the next one from Christopher. He was saying, "Life is busy. I think we all understand the amount of time we take each day to do our duty to ourselves and our world." Yes, life is busy. I totally agree. We would love to do a talk one of these days. Yep. Christopher, let me know ahead of time. I'll bring you in. I'd like to hear everybody's voice. I can accommodate two or three of our audience members to come in and share the microphone with me on this show. We'll let's say starting next week, if anybody is interested, let's pick 2 days. Tuesdays and Thursdays. Let's create a segment called our audience takeover. What about that? Is that a good name for a segment? Our audience will take over the show, and I will invite two or three who's interested. Just let me know ahead of time so that I will call you instead of you calling uh, because I don't have the phone app yet. Again, I will call you on Messenger instead of you calling in because the ringing goes live, and it kind of hijacks the entire show if you call into the messenger. But if anybody wants to join me on the studio, the virtual studio, on the radio station, the virtual radio station, it's a proverbial. Well, it's a virtual one, so there's not a physical radio station, but we can come together and create that for ourselves. Three of you, two to three of you at a time. Let me know ahead of time that you want to join me. So let's starting next week, choose every Tuesdays and Thursdays. Uh, we call it the third segment of the show, or let's call it the second segment of the show, audience takeover segment. So we'll bring in two or three who will share all of their thoughts. The floor will be yours. I'll be there just to participate and ask some questions, but we will give our audience members again. This is the People's Radio, right? We've been saying that this is the People's Radio, and I keep on forgetting to put up, folks. One of our revenues for this week, and it's only for this week because it's election season. We got some advertising revenue, so I have to do our duties. So don't go away, folks. This is Freedom Fighter Radio. Let's go to a short break. Let's pay back our paying advertisers on the show so that we can keep on doing this. Let's pay them back with some of our precious airtime. So don't go away. You're listening to Freedom Fighter Radio. I'm your host, Joey Salvador. When we come back, we are going to our comment section with our audience members. Freedom Fighter Radio, only here on The Ordinary Joe. We'll be right back in less than a minute.
Canada's best days are ahead of us, but we need to get the country back on its feet and back on track. 12 years in the Air Force taught me you need a plan for every mission. Canada's recovery plan will get the economy surging in the right direction for all Canadians from every walk of life. Recover 1 million jobs, tough anti-corruption laws, mental health action, securing Canadian-made supplies, balancing the budget. Enough talk. Let's get to work. Secure the future. Vote Conservative.
Please consider supporting the OJTV production costs and be an insider member for only $3 a month. Go to patreon.com/OJTV Canada. Thank you for your continued support.
Canadians all across the country are sick and tired of the lies, the fear-mongering, and the hate speech they hear from the mainstream media. Download the free radio app, Freedom Fighter Radio. Click the link below, scan our QR code, join our mailing list, and get a free download of our Freedom Fighter Radio app, only here on OJTV on The Ordinary Joe Show.
Canada's best days are ahead of us, but we need to get the country back on its feet and back on track. 12 years in the Air Force taught me you need a plan for every mission. Canada's recovery plan will get the economy surging in the right direction for all Canadians from every walk of life. Recover 1 million jobs, tough anti-corruption laws, mental health action, securing Canadian-made supplies, balancing the budget. Enough talk. Let's get to work. Secure the future. Vote Conservative.
Yo, it's just another Ordinary Joe show. You're listening to Freedom Fighter Radio. I'm your host, Joey Salvador, the Ordinary Joe, your brother in the fight. Your brother is praying for you every time you go out there and do your protest. I'm always praying for you, folks. I'm praying for a movement. I'm praying that every single one of us will take courage, be fearless, and take our country back. We need each other. We need to pray for each other. But we need to be fearless, folks. We really need to take our country back. This country is so precious. Our neighborhoods are so precious, and most of you have precious little kids who live in this beautiful province of Ontario, in this beautiful country, Canada. And some of you are listening from outside of Canada. All of our Australian brothers and sisters, UK, United States, all your specific respective countries are beautiful land that God has blessed us with. And if you're a parent, your kids are going to your public school systems, they are playing in your playgrounds, they will be the next ones who will be the adults and who will be roaming around our cities and our towns and our provinces. We need to fight for them, folks. We need to take our country back for the sake of our children. We are not going to be around forever. And when we're gone, they'll be the one l- staying behind, living in these cities, these provinces, the states, the countries where, and whatever kind of country will leave them with is the country that they will live in. So let's take our country back. Would love to do a talk one of these days, according to Christopher. Yeah, you're welcome, Christopher. Link to a group chat. Thinking of maybe, are you talking, Christopher? Are you talking about to our radio listeners? I'm kind of responding to a comment section. So for our radio app listeners, please also join us on Freedom Fighter Radio Canada, which is we're not broadcasting live there right now. We're restricted from doing that. But right now, most of these people are my Facebook friends who are listening on my Facebook profile because we're just, unfortunately, we're just restricted to go live on the big channels. But Rumble also has a comment section. The only thing, it doesn't appear on StreamYard. But I can jump out and jump in back in and check out. Let me just go quickly. Let me see. Are there any? No, there are no comments on Rumble yet. Rumble is a brand new channel that I'm gonna ask everybody to help me build that. So the group chat that you're talking about, or I was talking about earlier, is I want to kind of couple when we're doing this live, and because we know that we have a lot of radio app listeners, I want to create a telegram. I'm answering the comment of Christopher J. Nelson, folks, to all our radio listeners. I'm answering Christopher J. Nelson's question on the comment section here on Facebook. And her question is linked to group chat. So my answer is we need a telegram that our radio app listeners can go there and leave their comments there. And somehow I need to figure out where I can hopefully automatically make those comments on Telegram appear here on the screen. If not, just manually, I will kind of copy paste, or just answer them, or just I'll read it out for everybody. If you don't see it, that's the idea of the radio show, anyways. Really, it's not visual, but from time to time, I'd like to share some screenshots on the screen here. So for our radio listeners, if you want to be a little bit more engaged, you can also join our Facebook groups and Rumble. So from time to time, I show a screen share of something or a video, and if it's a poster, I'll describe it verbally so that our radio listeners can listen to it. David was saying asymptomatic spreading is a myth. Yes, thank you, brother. That's what I was talking about just 20 minutes ago. By the way, Dr. Jane Ruby is warning about antibody dependent enhancement, ADE. This is the very first time I'm hearing this, David. What is it about? For those who continue to get the boosters, Dr. Christian Northrop, let's turn down the music some more. Music's getting me excited. For those who continue to get the boosters, Dr. Christian Northrop and Dr. Sherry Tenpenny mentioned a cytokine storm. Cytokine? How do I pronounce that, folks? David, am I pronouncing it right? Cytokine storm? with the normal flu season. I think I heard something about a cytokine storm. I don't know exactly what it is, but if I remember, is it something about your flu is worse than usual? Is that what it means to be under a cytokine storm? Maybe add additional more comments about this, David, on the bottom. Let's go to Howard. Brother Howard, nice to see you, brothers. Thank you for joining us. And always valuable insights from Howard. We also have many laws that protect our inalienable rights and freedoms. This is Howard talking, folks. I'm just reading for our radio listener. I'm just reading the comment of Howard Kwan. Uh, we all we also have many laws that protect our inalienable rights and freedoms: privacy, non-genetic discrimination, human rights, civil rights. Folks, by the way, I'd like to share with you. Thank you for that, Howard. Howard, and in line with what you're saying, Howard, on the comment section. Last night, I filled up a form for my spouse. She's a nurse, and they asked her to. The form is named "Requests for Exemption." Ah, they're kind of turning the table around as if it's the people who's requesting them now, and they really want to. And they just want to be the dominant player all the time, of course. But it should be them requesting for. First of all, employers are not supposed to ask employees, "Are you vaccinated or not?" That's none of your business. That's a protected. Um, that's a protect. Um, I wish I have the form with me, but I went to the internet and researched. I think it's called the Health Privacy Protection Act 2004 in Ontario, and I put that in one of the fields in the form. I said when the question was asked, "Have you?" And it's a lure. They're trying to trap you. One of the questions in the form from the hospital asked, "Did you take any vaccine elsewhere or other vaccines other than this one?" Question number one in the same box, and question number two in the same box says, "So what's the difference? Why not take this one?" That's the second question in the same box. There's about nine boxes in the form, and then a second page has three boxes. And the three boxes on the second page is like, how do you identify based on, you know, on the code? So the way I help my wife answer that is I identify as a Judeo-Christian. And why? And some of I'm just going by memory, folks. Some of the follow-up question to that is why is you identifying, whatever you identify as, and then my answer for her is a Judeo-Christian, Bible believing Christian is how she is identifying. And why would the way you identify is contradicting with the vaccine? And I help her answer by saying, um, my body is the temple of the living God, and I don't allow any intravenous, invasive medical procedure to come into my body unless I have a full, peaceful spirit in my prayers with God about it. So I always think that citing religious belief as part as first of all, we don't need to give any reason. The reason is I don't want the vax. That's it. End of story. End of discussion. That's how it's supposed to be. But these employers are turning the table around, and they want to make it as if, and they even name the form as a request for exemption. It's like the onus is on the employee to request the exemption. No, you are requesting people to take the vax, and people can deny your request. That's legally, everybody should understand. That's how it is. They're the one who's requesting people to take the vax because they believe in it. Um, but they turning the table around and says, anyways. So those are some of the questions. I just want to share some of those to you guys, and they also request a letter from a. They make you declare. Do you Are you do you belong to an organization? And I think it should end there. I don't believe so. I didn't send a letter with the form. I said to her, submit the form. If they insist on a letter from a minister, then if they're gonna coerce you, and then we'll cooperate, and we'll get, because we belong to a couple of churches anyways, and we'll try that. But from the beginning, I don't think that they can require that anyways. Because if one of the questions, are you practicing your faith? What faith do you belong to? And I said, we're Christians. Are you practicing your faith, and how? And how do you practice your faith? Even if you don't go to church, let's say, because your church has given to tyranny during the lockdowns, and they won't open the church, and you said, you know what, this church and the church leaders of this particular congregation obeys the government more than they obey God. They're not obeying God's mandate or God's scripture when it says, do not neglect the assembly of the church, or the assembly of the saints. But they gave in to the government, and they listen more to government's fear mongering, and they are so afraid of losing their charitable status. That's why they gave in to all the lockdowns. If that's the case, then a lot of people just left that church. And like us, we felt like, we are going to continue and maintain our Christian faith by exercising our conviction. It doesn't mean you don't go to a specific church anymore, that you're not Christian anymore. So that is a very misleading item in the exemption form. So what I'm trying to explain to my wife, this is you it doesn't mean you don't go to church, you're not a practicing Christian, because you pray before our mealtime. You pray with our daughter before going to bed at bedtime. There's story time, and then there's prayer time before going to bed. These are Christian practices, and you're observing everything that you learn from the Holy Bible, and you're observing not to break them. That's a practice of your Christian faith. But what they're trying to uh, structure now is that you need to show proof that you go to this specific organization. No, technically not. You don't have to prove that. You don't have to. What if you are, a believer of some ancient religious practice that virtually doesn't exist anymore? And there's only a few remnants all over the world, and you don't have assemblies, you don't have congregations. Does that mean you don't exercise your belief? Anyways, there's a lot of legal. They don't have a legal leg to stand on to be asking many of these questions, but we'll try to keep the peace, cooperate to a point. But then at some point, everybody has to say, this is just really none of your business. And we're not complying. None of your business. But because you're my boss and we see each other every day, I'm going to try to work with you. I think that's how everybody should take it and see it. Let's go to the comment section. David Carlson was saying, just before that, yeah, Howard Kwan was talking about, non-genetic discrimination. That is a very good point too, Howard. I think there's a law or a bill coming down the pipeline, right, about the genetic discrimination. It's very good. And the PCR test is a genetic test, just so that everybody is clear about that. What they're looking for, a virus is pretty much a string of genetic sequence, right? And you can almost interchange a virus from genes, but when a gene becomes harmful, we kind of rename it and we call it a virus. So that's how I understand what viruses are. Viruses are not living organisms like bacterias and fungi. A virus is a string of code, and if it's a malware, sort of like very similar to a computer virus. A computer virus is a string of code that doesn't kind of jive with the entire programming, and if it infects the program, that's how the whole thing goes haywire. And that's very similar to our genetic code as humans. And human viruses are also, they're not organisms. They are genetic string of codes that hijacks a cell. It hijacks a protein, and if that protein or if that cell multiplies, that virus that's taking a ride along on the cell multiplies with the multiplication of the cell. So that's how that works. That's how I understand it, anyways. Going to David Carlson. OJ, I sent you a link on Messenger from America's Frontline Doctors on legal action against crimes against humanity, and a link here at https a rumble.com link. Thank you, David. I will check it out. And when I had the Lawyers for Truth from Alberta on the show, by the way, we have Lawyers for Truth weekly segment. I'm just holding on to the episodes because many of these episodes that Lawyers for Truth is sending over our way are very, very valuable messages, and I don't want it to go to waste. Not it won't go to waste, but I don't want it to be published when there's just very low turnout on the listenership. I want to publish it when everybody's around, when we're able to go and go live on our big channels as well, because so many people will benefit from our Lawyers for Truth. But technically, we have Lawyers for Truth weekly here. They have a weekly segment, and if it becomes very highly in demand, I'm gonna ask them to do two segments per week if they can. But because people are really digging in and learning a lot from the Lawyers for Truth. So we call it Lawyers for Truth Radio, or we might start calling it Lawyers for Truth Megaphone, Lawyers for Truth Bullhorn. Um, we'll 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 give it a proper name, and we'll create a separate page or a group for it, so that we can grow the audience of Lawyers for Truth only here on the Ordinary Joe. Let's go back to Howard, the Canadian Bill of Rights. The Canadian Bill of Rights, Section 1A, is the most powerful legislation written in recognition and protection of our inalienable rights and freedoms from forced medical procedures which violates all of our human rights. The Canadian Bill of Rights protects life, liberty, and security of person, which has a history tied into the Nuremberg Code, Universal Declaration of Human Rights, and the Human Rights Code, which all prohibits forced medical procedures. And I only can see up to that point because I'm not on Facebook, Howard. I'm on StreamYard. StreamYard kind of cut it if it's a little too long, so I couldn't see the rest of it. But the first part of what you said here, just want to remind everyone, James Scarf, a very good friend of our co-host on Tuesday, Rebecca Shepherd, the leader of Stand for Thee. Jane Scarf is also big on the Canadian Bill of Rights, and she's saying that the Bill of Rights is more robust than the Charter of Rights and Freedom. When we had conversation with Jane Scarf, she was saying that the Charter of Rights have some commie clauses or communist kind of dead man's break. So sort of like, there's a, what do you call that again, like a fuse. If the tyrant wants to kind of diffuse the power of the charter, they can easily cite some of the comic clauses or communist clauses within the charter. This is Jane Scarf talking, what I'm describing right now. But and she was saying, the Charter of Rights might have some problems, but the Canadian Bill of Rights is very, very bulletproof. And this is what I say about that, though. Even before the Bill of Rights, and even before the Magna Carta, even before the Charter, for me, the human rights, the inalienable rights, we were born with it, and it was God given. So even before all of these documents and these bills and these charters, I really believe that the strongest unwritten human rights is, and the manifestation of it is our beings, us, speaking forth what our human rights are as a human. That is the strongest citation of human rights, in my opinion. God is the author and the giver of human rights. Your human rights, your freedoms, your liberties, these are not granted by the government. Let's all get rid of that idea that I'm free because the government allow me to be free. I have freedom because the government granted me freedom. No. The government doesn't have any power to grant any of us, any of you, any including me, none of us can be given freedom provided by the government. None of our none of our liberties are granted by the government. The government doesn't have any power to give it, much less the government doesn't have any power to take it. Let's just write that on stone right now. It should be written on stone. They don't have the power to give it, therefore they don't have the power to take it. It's God given. We were born with it. That settles it. Voice of the people, according to Christopher J. Nelson, takeover might be interpreted aggressively. Well, I'm letting you take it over. Yeah, we'll find a good name for it, Christopher. But just spur of the moment, thinking of a title for you guys to come in and join me. A spur of the moment title that came to my head. We'll call the segment, the audience takeover, because it's a radio of the people, for the people, by the people. So we'll find a better name for it. David Carlson saying faith is very important these days. The belief in a supreme being, God, who allows us to exercise our free will, enables us to choose between good and evil. Amen. I do not attend church. I do not attend church services on a regular belief. Paradoxically, it is the advancement of modern science that has convinced me of an intelligent designer. Amen. This is awesome. I like this sharing, David. I like it. I like the direction you're going with here. It has the advancement of modern science that has convinced me of an intelligent designer who created life and the universe. Dr. Stephen Mayer of the Institute is a great resource, and he discusses intelligent design in his lectures on YouTube. Stephen Mayer, I will check it out, brother. Thank you for the tip. I will check out Stephen Mayer. Um, Regular basis done autocorrect. Autoimmune disorders and more severe reactions. Fabian Katri is saying, I'd be more involved in the comments. There's so much to unpack. LOL. But I need to keep working. Took a coffee break to drop a few words. Trending is the peak cases from last year and this year versus vax percentage. Totally destroys the pandemic of the unvax. Yeah, all those are all just lies and propaganda. Propaganda. That's the word I'm looking for. It's not a pandemic. It's an endemic. Natural. Let me read that from the beginning again. This is to our radio listeners. This is one of our regular contributor on the comment section, Fabian Katri. He is saying it's not a pandemic. It's an endemic. Natural immunity. Oh yeah, natural immunity is not myth. Certificate of Vaccine ID 2019. Bill Gates, quantum dot smile, breath. You are more powerful than you can imagine. FAB. What is FAB? I'm not familiar with the acronym FAB, but let me know. Fabienne, thank you for dropping by, even though you're still in the middle of your work schedule. David saying natural law supersedes man made laws. Amen. Amen, folks. This is Freedom Fighter Radio, and we are having fun with our freedom fighters from all across the world. Many of our regular freedom fighters weighing in on the comment section. Our fabulous David Carlson, Fabian Katri, Howard Kwan, Christopher J. Nelson. Who else do we have here? Fabian Catri, I mentioned. These are some of the people who always bring excellent value to the Freedom Fighter Radio. Folks, don't go away. We'll be right back. We continue on, and then we'll have one more segment as we continue our series on the metaverse. And we are going to get back to the comment when we come back from the break. Fabian Catri was saying, just call me a Fab. Just call me Fab. LOL. Okay, Fab. You're Fab. Oh, Fabian. I thought it's short for fabulous. The fabulous Fabian. All right. So, folks, don't go away. This is Freedom Fighter Radio, only here on The Ordinary Joe. We'll be right back after these messages. Don't go away.
Please consider supporting the OJTV production costs and be an insider member for only $3 a month. Go to patreon.com/OJTV Canada. Thank you for your continued support.
Canada's best days are ahead of us, but we need to get the country back on its feet and back on track. 12 years in the Air Force taught me you need a plan for every mission. Canada's recovery plan will get the economy surging in the right direction for all Canadians from every walk of life. Recover 1 million jobs, tough anti-corruption laws, mental health action, securing Canadian-made supplies, balancing the budget. Enough talk. Let's get to work. Secure the future. Vote Conservative.
Canadians all across the country are sick and tired of the lies, the fear-mongering, and the hate speech they hear from the mainstream media. Download the free radio app, Freedom Fighter Radio. Click the link below, scan our QR code, join our mailing list, and get a free download of our Freedom Fighter Radio app, only here on OJTV on The Ordinary Joe Show.
Freedom Fighter Radio, what is up? Whoa!
Shout out to Freedom Fighter Radio. And Joe, you're doing great work, brother, and I love it. All right? Always.
Make sure you listen to the Freedom Fighter Radio on the Ordinary Show.
I'm on Freedom Fighter Radio on the Ordinary Joe Show. That's quite a mouthful.
Yes.
Hey guys, this is Chris Guy. Listen to Freedom Fighter Radio. They're here today, back in the blue, and so am I.
Canada's best days are ahead of us, but we need to get the country back on its feet and back on track. 12 years in the Air Force taught me you need a plan for every mission. Canada's recovery plan will get the economy surging in the right direction for all Canadians from every walk of life. Recover 1 million jobs, tough anti-corruption laws, mental health action, securing Canadian-made supplies, balancing the budget. Enough talk. Let's get to work. Secure the future. Vote Conservative.
Please consider supporting the OJTV production costs and be an insider member for only $3 a month. Go to patreon.com/OJTV Canada. Thank you for your continued support.
Yo, it's Joey Salvador, the Ordinary Joe, and you're listening to Freedom Fighter Radio. Only here on the Ordinary Joe. It's Good Morning Thursday. Oh, good afternoon already in the East Coast. It's still quite good morning in British Columbia. And what time is it in 11 a.m. still in Alberta and Saskatchewan. Good morning still. Alberta and Saskatchewan, British Columbia. Good morning to you, but good afternoon to the rest of the country. Good afternoon to the East Coast of the United States, and good morning to the West Coast. Did I get that right? Yes, I got that right. Going back to the comments section, Christopher J was saying also there is no second H in my name. Second H, Christopher. They forgot it at birth, and I just kept the unique spelling instead of paying to get it changed. Chris is fine as well. Yes, Chris. So do you have another H on your actual spelling? Fabian Country, read my first comment, please, Joe. Your first comment. Let me go back. Oh, which one are you talking about? The hospital? My job. Okay, there. My job has to do a. Let me turn down our wonderful music. That's getting me riled up. Okay, this is the one I missed, right, Christopher? Wait, is it Christopher asking me? Yeah, Christopher is asking me to read his first comment. Is this your first comment that I missed? Let me see if you have other comments. I think this is the one. This is the only one I did not read. Let me know if I got it right, Christopher. My job has to do a wellness check each day, which usually was just a temporary check and asking if I felt okay and if I had come into contact with COVID people or have been out of the country. Now, they have added the question of if we have been vaccinated, and a few of us knew our rights and told her we didn't have to answer that. And they had to go call their higher ups because they didn't believe us. And they came back and said that they can ask it, but we don't have to answer it. It's an exercise in futility for those who are trying to breach our rights. Uh, thank you for sharing that, Christopher. So I can only see it to that point. There's just a little bit of the last statement that I can see. Way too many got super, and then I couldn't see the rest of it. New comment. Yes, hospital. Fabian Katri. Aha, no fab is asking. Christopher Nelson was saying. David, excellent info, Howard. Thank you very much, Howard. Here, man. For our radio listeners, we're reading now a comment from Howard Kwan. Mandatory PCR testing is a criminal offense in Canada. Amen. Yeah, we need to. My goodness, I think didn't the CDC pulled out the PCR testing already as part of CDC recommendation? That's what I heard. I can't remember, but okay, let's continue on. Genetic Non-Discrimination Act, first session, 42nd Parliament, 64-65-66, Elizabeth II, 2015, 2016, 2017. Oh, this is not new. Awesome. This has been established statutes already. That's very awesome. Man, Howard, you really share a lot of very valuable information. I really thank God for you, brother. Let me start from the very beginning because this is very precious information for all our listeners. Also on the radio app, please come and check us out on Facebook so you can check out some of these comments also. You can read it yourself. But let me read for our radio app listeners. Mandatory PCR testing is a criminal offense in Canada. This is Howard Kwan sharing about PCR tests in Canada. Genetic Non-Discrimination Act, first session, 42nd Parliament, 64-65-66, Elizabeth II, 2015, 2016, and 2017, Statutes of Canada 2017, Chapter 3, an act to pro, an act to prohibit and prevent genetic discrimination assented to May 4th, 2017, Bill S-201 summary. This enactment prohibits any person from requiring an individual to undergo a genetic test or disclose the result of a genetic test as a condition of providing goods or service to entering into. I might as well. This is very precious. I might as well go to my Facebook to read the rest of this. But give me a second, folks. It's just a matter of I have to go there. I have to find I have to find our live shot on Facebook. Give me 30 seconds. I'll be there. Okay. Just a little slow. Where is it? I can't find. There you go. There you go. Don't go away, folks. Don't go away. I'm almost there. I'm almost there. Um, Here, let me read the rest of it. Okay. So just to remind everybody who's leaving comments on our comment section, if it's really long, I couldn't see the rest of it from StreamYard. I have to go to Facebook to read the rest of the comments. So let's go back to the last exception. Uh, what's the last part I read from StreamYard? Okay. This enactment prohibits, let me turn down. This is very, very precious information. Howard, man, thank you very much. This enactment prohibits any persons from requiring an individual to undergo a genetic test or disclose the results of a genetic test as a condition of providing goods or services to, entering into or continuing a contract or agreement with, comma, or offering specific conditions in a contract or agreement with, comma, the individual. Exceptions are provided for healthcare practitioners and researchers. Also, nurses are exempted from this bill, I guess. Is that is that true, Howard? This is kind of how I'm interpreting this, but let me keep going. The enactment provides individuals with other protections related to genetic testings and test results. The enactment amends the Canada Labor Code to protect employees from being required to undergo or to disclose the results of a genetic test and provides employees with other protections related to genetic testing and test results. It also amends the Canadian Human Rights Act. It amends the Canadian Human Rights Act to prohibit discrimination on the grounds of genetic characteristics. Amen. This is awesome. Available on the Parliament of Canada website at the following address. Thank you, Howard. I'm right clicking on it so I can post it. HTTP forward slash www.parl.gc.ca 64 65 66 Elizabeth 2, Chapter 3, an act to prohibit and prevent genetic discrimination, assented to 4th of May 2017. Her Majesty, by and with the advice and consent of the Senate and House of Commons of Canada, enacts as follows. Short title 1. This act may be cited as the Genetic Non Discrimination Act. And we got a link here. Right click, open link in new tab. Offenses and punishment. Contravention of section 3 to 5. 7. Every person who contravenes any of the sections 3 to 5 is guilty of an offense and is liable on conviction on indictment to fine not exceeding a million or to imprisonment for a term not exceeding 5 years or both, or letter B, on summary conviction to a fine not exceeding $300,000 or to imprisonment for a term not exceeding 12 months or to both. Hey, thanks to Jane Scarf for this information. Jane Scarf, yee! Jane Scarf is also full of information that are very useful for our freedom fighters. It's awesome, but maybe I'll have James Scarf to come on the show as well. I want to ask if this does this mean, because I read here somewhere that the exemptions are provided for healthcare practitioners and researchers. So exemption means there this bill doesn't cover them. Is that what the? Oh, this is. I was about to use this, man, for my wife. Exemptions, but it'd be awesome to have James Scarf. Anybody who has James Scarf on their speed dial, please let her know that I would love to have her on. Maybe I'll get her for Friday. Let's see how it goes. But Howard, man, thank you for sharing that. Thank you to James Scarf. So Parliament of Canada website, I have it here. I right click on it and bill, public bill S-201. Statutes of Canada 2017 Chapter 3. This is awesome, awesome, awesome. Thank you, thank you, thank you. This is great. So we're gonna create a post a little later today, and this is wonderful. This is wonderful. Okay, so let's go back to StreamYard. Thank you for everybody who has joined us. Maybe we'll continue with Zuckerberg interview with The Verge in next episode tomorrow, last day of the week. We are going to have Freedom Fighter Radio. Saturdays were off because Saturday I observed the Sabbath on Saturdays, but then I might do a rerun, all day rerun of everything we learned this week on Sunday to just kind of kick off next week. And I'm supposed to have a meeting today sometime. Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah. Tiana Lupic. Okay, anyways. So I also have, it's 1:12 Eastern Standard Time, 1:12 p.m. Good afternoon to the rest of Canada and to the eastern seaboard of the United States. And good morning still to some of the western side of Canada and the United States in the West Coast. Christopher J. Nelson. Christopher is the original spelling with the H after P. Okay, got it. David Carlson. Excellent info. Howard, thank you very much. Yes, second emotion, David, that Howard's information is very valuable. I'm going to start creating some snippets of, static posters with it. And Christopher says, haha, NoFab is asking, the CDC, Carlson was saying, the CDC is discontinuing the current PCR testing on December 31st, 2021. Gates and Soros are creating a new test. Their company name is Mologic. I'm not going to take that one either. Um, Howard Kwan has a link here that I have to go to Facebook to right click on it. Thanks for that, Howard. Christopher Nelson was saying, Fab said, people are protesting at hospitals. Not cool. Just got off a 3-day ban. They claim I sent explicit messages on Messenger, which I didn't. Coincidence that it was a day I was posting every plane flying over my city of Saskatoon. I'll let you guess why. I'm looking forward to talking with you, even though I'm nervous. Cytokine is an overreaction of your immune system where the body starts to attack its own cell. Yeah, okay. Yes, yes, yes. I remember. So the body starts to attack its own cells and tissues rather than just fighting off the virus, the cytokine storm. Okay, yes, cytokine storm. I'm gonna make a post on that too. Thank you, Christopher. Not sure how much you can see of that. I saw all of it. That one is short enough so that everything is as it fits into the comment that we show on screen as well. So thank you, Christopher. Howard, Bill S-201 prohibits PCR testing, but also any medical procedure, including being forced to wear face masks, taking the jab, and submitting enforcing vaccine passports and without meaningful informed consent. Thanks, Howard, for that. But Howard, if you don't mind, please let me know. Do you think when I read your full comments on Facebook, I went to Facebook, I saw that there's a part of your comment that says healthcare workers. Let me just go back there. Where is it? I think I saw in your comment, part of your comment says that frontline workers or healthcare workers are exempted. And does that mean they're exempted from the bill? That the bill doesn't protect them? Is that what it means, Howard? How could I lose that? Where is it? Oh, I cannot find your comment, Howard. I thought I was there. I was just there. Oh, that was the old one. Okay, there we go. Howard, where's your entire comment? Uh, Again, I lost it. I don't know. My eyes sometimes just kind of dyslexic, I guess. I have to start making my comments relative to the entire video and not an immediate response. They get read far too past the relevancy. Fabian Katri, I thought Monday was going to be the day they had to release their recipe list of ingredients for the job. Yeah, I heard about that. What happened to that? Anybody knows what happened? Anyways, folks, again, this is Freedom Fighter Radio. For those who are listening on the post, who hasn't joined us in the live show, may I invite you guys to join us during the live show so you can also comment like our brothers Howard, Christopher, Fabian, and many more. David Carlson is doing right now. We'd like to get your inputs as well. I know a lot of our listeners and viewers are listening on the post, maybe because they're in, you know, um, they physically go to work still. A lot of people are still working from home, and I'm broadcasting from home, so I'll be able to look after my daughter as well. I'm the hands-on parent, so that's why I'm gonna have to end this after one more segment, and we're gonna end the show so I can check on my daughter, who is still in school, but maybe she'll go on a recess very soon. So, folks, this is Freedom Fighter Radio. For those who are listening on the radio app, please check out our Rumble and also our Facebook pages so that you can interact with us. And very soon, we are going to incorporate a what do you call that app again? Let me see. We're going to integrate a Telegram with the radio app so that those who are listening to the radio app can interact with us as well, just like those who are listening through Facebook and YouTube. Actually, I have to visit YouTube. I don't know if people are interacting on YouTube. I have very low YouTube followers, and I'm not always on YouTube. But Rumble, radio app, and Facebook, I need people to start, commenting like our precious members of the audience members here on Facebook. We get a lot of very, very precious comments here. So this is Freedom Fighter Radio. I'm your host, Joey Salvador, on a Thursday morning, a wonderful Thursday morning. Tonight we have Red Pill Canada podcast. Starts at 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, 5 p.m. in Manitoba, 4 p.m. in Western Canada, and 3 p.m. in British Columbia. Tonight, 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Please join us for Red Pill Canada podcast with four wonderful women: Amparo, Cindy, Ate Vicky, and Mia hasn't been with us for a while. But from time to time, Christine, Kai is stepping up. So don't go away. We have one more segment on this morning show, Freedom Fighter Radio. Don't go away. We'll be right back after these short messages.
Canada's best days are ahead of us, but we need to get the country back on its feet and back on track. 12 years in the Air Force taught me you need a plan for every mission. Canada's recovery plan will get the economy surging in the right direction for all Canadians from every walk of life. Recover 1 million jobs, tough anti-corruption laws, mental health action, securing Canadian-made supplies, balancing the budget. Enough talk. Let's get to work. Secure the future. Vote Conservative.
Please consider supporting the OJTV production costs and be an insider member for only $3 a month. Go to patreon.com/OJTV Canada. Thank you for your continued support.
Canadians all across the country are sick and tired of the lies, the fear-mongering, and the hate speech they hear from the mainstream media. Download the free radio app, Freedom Fighter Radio. Click the link below, scan our QR code, join our mailing list, and get a free download of our Freedom Fighter Radio app only here on OJTV on The Ordinary Joe Show.
Canada's best days are ahead of us, but we need to get the country back on its feet and back on track. 12 years in the Air Force taught me you need a plan for every mission. Canada's recovery plan will get the economy surging in the right direction for all Canadians from every walk of life. Recover 1 million jobs, tough anti-corruption laws, mental health action, securing Canadian-made supplies, balancing the budget. Enough talk. Let's get to work. Secure the future. Vote Conservative.
Please consider supporting the OJTV production costs and be an insider member for only $3 a month. Go to patreon.com/OJTV Canada. Thank you for your continued support.
It's just another Ordinary JoJo. You're listening to Freedom Fighter Radio only here on The Ordinary Joe. Thank you to all who have tuned in and giving us company from all across the world. Freedom fighters, brothers and sisters in the fight, brothers and sisters in the faith. Keep it up, folks. Fear not, for the Lord is with us. We got to keep the faith, folks, and keep the courage. Never fear. God is our strength and our refuge. Going back to our comment section, this is the last segment for this Thursday morning show. We call it morning because still the leg part of Canada and the United States, still West Coast is still morning, last part of the morning. British Columbia is still 10 o'clock, or sorry, 10:23 a.m. in British Columbia. So they are about in their last 2 hours before the end of the morning in British Columbia. And after that, all of Canada has left the morning part of the time zone. Howard Kwan added for our radio app listeners, Howard Kwan, our audience member, value resource person here, is sharing this comment that I will read for you. Vaccine information fact sheet for recipients and caregivers about Comirnaty, Comirnaty. This is, I think, the new COVID-19. So COVID-19 vaccine, comma, mRNA, and Pfizer BioNTech COVID-19 vaccine to prevent coronavirus disease 2019 COVID-19. FDA.gov media download. Okay, so it's a link. I'm gonna go. So I heard from one of our researchers, resource person offline. She was saying that there's something sinister that they did. You remember a few weeks ago when they said that finally all the mRNA, the Pfizer BioNTech, is finally FDA approved. So one of our resource person, our offline researcher, Seven Jade, or also known as Christine, she was saying that there's something sinister about that, the public address or a public press con when they said that they approved the Pfizer, because it has something to do with the Comirnaty is the one that they approve, not the Alpha variant Pfizer. And you know what's also very interesting? They're still jabbing that to people when it's the Pfizer and the Moderna, for the Alpha variant. It's pretty much obsolete. It doesn't protect anybody anymore because they're not dealing with Alpha variant anymore, right? They're dealing with the Delta variant and then other variants that come with it. So it's interesting that they're still forcing people or coercing people to take that old 2020, um, if I can say 2020 obsolete version of the mRNA, they're still jabbing that to people. So that's interesting. So I right click. I went to Facebook and I right click the link that Howard Kwan has shared with us. And the title of the article is CDC withdraws PCR testing protocol, but not until December 31st, 2021. And I am going to post that on our Facebook page. The main one is Freedom Fighter Radio Canada. That's a main page with 15,000 followers. Everybody who's listening to our radio app, please come to our Freedom Fighter Radio Canada Facebook page and also our Rumble, which is also Freedom Fighter Radio Canada on Rumble. And please do subscribe and share. Sharing is caring, folks. Sharing is caring. We want more people to be reached by our message and our conversation. But indeed, we are going to have more people as I will be downloading this and then re-uploading it to all the pages that we are not allowed to broadcast live right now. So more people will be able to listen to it. But folks, I would like to encourage you to also do the same. Click the link, get the link from our live. It won't be live anymore. When we finish the live session, it will be a post, and you can get that link from the post, and you share it on Messenger, share it on your Facebook, share it on Twitter. I'm not very active on Twitter, but you can get a link and share it on the other apps like Instagram as well. I'm not big on Instagram. I'm not on TikTok at all. I'm old fashioned Gen X Facebook user. And but now I'm kind of transitioning from Facebook. We are transitioning from Facebook to Rumble. Rumble will be hopefully in, I don't know, I estimate about maybe 4 to 6 months that hopefully we're able to populate our Rumble with all of those who listen to us and follow us on mainly Facebook will come to our Rumble and mainly listen to us on Rumble. And when we are able to accomplish that, what we're going to do is we're gonna keep on simulcasting on all the pages. But if we have all of our Facebook followers start subscribing on our Rumble, then we are only going to simulcast for 20 minutes with Facebook, and then we're gonna sever our live cast on Facebook after 20 minutes so that we can free to talk, we can freely express everything without having to think about censorship whatsoever. That's the idea. Hopefully 4 to 6 months from now, that our Rumble will be thriving and will be the main channel for our radio program. So, folks, yesterday I started the conversation about, well, I didn't start it yesterday, but I started the series of our conversation about the metaverse, which is part of our biodigital convergence series of conversation. As many of you know already, that is s- taxpayer sponsored, taxpayer dollar sponsored, Canadian taxpayers sponsored agenda, government agenda, and we have an official website that has the government of Canada stamp on it. That biodigital convergence is really going to fly. It's going to take off from Canada. So Mark Zuckerberg, I think Bezos as well of Amazon, Apple, and Google are all competing with each other. Who will be the dominant force of the future of the internet? They say the metaverse will be replacing the internet. So there's not, the internet's gonna be obsolete, and it will be replaced by metaverse. What's the difference between the two? So to put it very easy to understand, I would like to quote uh, former Brigadier retired Brigadier General Robert Spalding. And I'm going to quote him with one of the podcasts when he said that in the 5G network, the 5G is both the network and also the operating system. So initially, and you know what the when he said that 5G is not just a network. Right now, when we tap into the internet, when we tap into Wi-Fi, when we tap into the grid, we're actually tapping into a network, right? So you need your phone, you need a device, you need a computer, a tablet, or a phone, or whatever electronic device that will tap into the network. And the network's purpose, or the only function of the network, is to connect your device to either websites and search engines like Google and social media platforms like Facebook and YouTube and whatnot. So the old fashioned, which is 2G, 3G, 4G, everything before 5G, all of those networks are pretty much networks. But with 5G, Robert Spalding, the retired Brigadier General of the Air Force, he was describing that 5G is not just a network. 5G, the difference between 5G and all the other Gs prior to 5G, 5G is multi layered. It's both network and operating system at the same time. So, what does that mean? Um, and and let's take Facebook for example. And Facebook would be probably like the best example. Facebook wants to dominate the metaverse. So 5G and the metaverse are really sort of very, very compatible. Um, so 5G is not just a network; it's a operating system, which means you don't need a device to activate 5G. So it means the servers. You don't need to visit a Facebook website. Facebook will be uploaded to 5G, and the computing power will be on the 5G platform. So it's not like right now in the old fashioned way, you have a device, you tap into the network, and the network will redirect you to a website, for example, Facebook. And Facebook has their own server. So basically, your device using the network, you're tapping into the network like an information highway, and the highway directs you to a direction of the URL that you're looking for, and in the URL will direct you to the servers of Facebook, and all the computing power happen inside the Facebook server. So the Facebook server will have databases, will have the algorithms are all in Facebook. That is the present day scenario. But in the 5G world, you don't need to go to the Facebook site. I mean, whatever you are represented with in the future, I don't know. They said we don't need a device, so we don't need a phone to tap. I really think that's why all of this agenda about transhumanism, I really think that biodigital convergence is, honestly, it sounds far fetched. Sounds far fetched if this was not the year we're in. If I'm talking like this maybe 2 years ago, 2019, 2018, 2017, this will all sound like conspiracy theory, but now it's conspiracy fact. You don't need a device. And how does people connect to the internet or to 5G or to metaverse without a device? You become the device. You don't need a device. Your eyes, your bloodstream, your entire biological entity is not human anymore. You'll be human 2.0. You'll be post human if you give in to the jabs and if you give in to all the altering therapy, gene therapy, right? Remember mRNA? mRNAs are not vaccines, folks. mRNA is altering your genes, pretty much creating you to be something else other than human. And you know what Dr. Carrie Madej called it as? For Dr. Carrie Madej, she said, when you take the mRNA, essentially what you become a GMO. You know what's a GMO? Genetically modified organism. That's a GMO. A lot of the food that we eat nowadays, thanks to Monsanto, are GMO. But you as a human can also be GMO if you allow this gene altering therapy dominate your entity. So it's going to be a short third segment, the segment of the show regarding metaverse. But we are going to chip away on this every single day on our broadcast. But today, let's go to a few more paragraphs with Zuckerberg's interview with The Verge and how he describes the metaverse. Because I really want us to all the listeners of our show really get to see very clearly what is about to happen to our world. And the metaverse right now, it is being packaged as, a gaming environment and all of these practical things. It is virtue signaling, all the buzzwords and the coolness, and it's just like, high tech. It's being packaged as just something very high tech, cool kind of experience. But I really feel that this is not just for gaming, this is not just for entertainment, these are not just to experience concerts virtually without having to travel to the concert. You can experience a concert from your home and things like that. They only package this, and you can see in many of the contentions from Mark Zuckerberg, he always touches on, concerts and movies and all that, everything that just very very trendy and cool. And but it's not just that. But they want you to think it's all just about gaming and entertainment and all sports and all that, but it's more than, way more. The metaverse and the 5G will be the platform and the environment where humans 2.0, or genetically modified humans, will live. That's the new home. That's a new environment where we're gonna walk about, move about, doing transaction, everyday things without leaving your home. But you're able to travel the entire planet, or even fabricated planets, spaces, virtual rooms, virtual dungeons, and many many things. All of this will be possible in the metaverse. And how timely that. And folks, I really need you to start digging in on this, and maybe our wonderful research people on the comment section will help me do some research. But there is a connection. Why is it so timely that in this day and age, we're talking about metaverses, we're talking about humans 2.0, so that humans can interact in the metaverse or the Internet of Things and the body of all things, and the Internet of Things will include humans in there too. And that's connected with quantum computing. So quantum computing will be the biggest support to the metaverse. As we said earlier, just before we got into this rant, that the metaverse will replace the internet. There's not going to be any more internet. It's all going to be metaverse. So, for example, you want to do a research on Wikipedia, you don't visit Wikipedia with your mouse and keyboard. You just walk into the Wikipedia site. You walk into it. In the old-fashioned way, it might be an Oculus, or VR mask that you put on your eyes so that you can interact in the metaverse. But then that will go away too. You don't need any of that device, and they are going to make it tactile sensitive, which means Whatever you're touching in the metaverse feels, you can feel it with your skin, with your own hands. That's why they said, hmm, the sex industry will be $1 billion worth um, industry inside the metaverse, because there's going to be a lot of sex services and people dating and what's the name of that app when they it's in the tip of my, when dating apps where people meet for one night stands. I forgot what it's called. That will be big in the metaverse. And the metaverse will roll out the ability to have tactile experience with other people and non-human entities inside the metaverse too. People will interact with each other that way. So the metaverse will replace the internet. So in the metaverse world, you don't click a mouse or you don't type a URL to go to Wikipedia to do research. You actually walk into the Wikipedia site. You walk into there. You experience the knowledge. So how dif- how different is it from the concept of the Matrix as the movie that we saw? It's no difference, and very very much like the movie Anon that I shared to you guys a couple of weeks back. Anon. So bio digital convergence is a very very important thing to research on, because this is the new world that they're building back better for us. So they're tearing down the world we live in right now, the physical world, the metaphysical world, the nature that God created for us to live in. They're breaking that down. They're tearing it apart. They're deteriorating it so that they can build back better. But a lot of this building back better is in the metaverse. That's my opinion about that. Because folks, you have to find the connection, and they are. Trust me, they are connected. You have to connect the dots. The rollout of the quantum computing, and you know what's very sinister about the quantum computing? And I like to have Edward Kwan, not Edward Kwan, Edward Ronquillo, one of our geeks in the room as well. Precious geek. Anyways, he's a lovely person. Edward Ronquillo, who mines bitcoins and who has a space station in his condo up in Markham. I've been up to his condo. This guy, he's married to his technology. He's surrounded by technology everywhere. And Edward Kwan is responsible building our computer and donating some of these gadgets that we use for the studio. Thank you to Edward Kwan and the Ronquillo brothers. But Edward Kwan, in one of our offline conversations, he was telling me that there's something actually organic in the quantum computing. Is not the kind of computer that we think about. You got to dig deeper about quantum computing. There's something sinister and evil about quantum computing that actually involves biological and metaphysical and spiritual aspects. You might be shocked to be hearing that right now because we're talking about a computer, right? But quantum computing and some dark evil forces is actually in cahoots with each other, which is actually very connected as well with what's going on with the Hadron Collider in Europe. What's the name of that area where they're testing the Hadron Collider? Because the Hadron Collider, they already experienced some of the third dimension opening up, what they call the parallel universe. With this Hadron Collider, they're able to tap into some unknown forces in the dark world. But we won't go into the details today. We're just gonna entice you right now. We'll use that as our preview. We'll preview our little trailer for the upcoming shows. and we'll dig deeper on it. Tomorrow is our last day for the morning show for the week, and then we'll take a break on Saturday. We'll observe our Sabbath on Saturday, and we'll go full throttle. Well, on Sunday we'll do a lot of reruns, and on Monday next week we're gonna go full throttle. I cannot pronounce the word throttle to digging deeper on quantum computing, the Hadron Collider in Europe, and the metaverse, and all of the sinister and evil beings that come in this whole packaging. So a lot of people are living in the virtual world now. They don't live in the real world anymore. They live in Roblox, they live in Fortnite, they live in um have you guys heard of that, what they call cache mining, cache geocaching? These are all connected with the new world order, and these are all connected with the build back better society that they're building for human 2.0. Most people will not be purely human gene anymore. People are entering into the next chapter, the next dimension, at which the evil one, Satan himself, have planned for humans. Remember, the reason Satan is so against humans, he was so jealous that God created man and women in his own image and likeness. Yet before the creation of man, Lucifer was the most beautiful angel of light. So there was a jealousy that turned into rebellion, and rebellion turned to an attempt for a takeover, a coup d'état, and that coup d'état led to a kicking out of the third of the heavens. The third of the angels were kicked out from heaven to Middle Earth, and they all become the demons that live on this planet. But folks, this is Freedom Fighter Radio. I'm your host, Joey Salvador. Those are the things that we are going to continue to talk about next week. Some of it will still be touching on tomorrow. But again, we are going to have the group chat segment tomorrow, which we launched today. And next week, I want to create two segments for every Tuesdays and for every Thursdays, where two or three of our audience members will come and join me in the studio to have this people's radio. Let's make it happen, folks. I want to hear uh, a lot of you who wants to participate. I want to hear the sound of your voice. You've been bringing a lot of very valuable information on our comments. The invitation is open for all of you. Howard Kwan, Christopher. Let me go to the comments. Howard Kwan, Fabian Katri, please come. If you are interested to come and join me for half an hour segment, please do let me know ahead of time so I can call you either Tuesday or Thursday. So we'll do it twice a week, Tuesdays and Thursdays, half an hour. Segment two of the show, we'll bring in some of our loyal audience members to participate in broadcasting with me and share the microphone so that everybody can hear your voice, because you've been sharing a lot of good information already, good insights on the comment section. Let's beef it up and give you even more presence on the radio show. Let's give you a voice and not just text on the comment section. And with that, folks, thank you for joining me again today. It was a wonderful, and I enjoyed this broadcast this morning. And as always, I do enjoy every broadcast here on the Freedom Fighter Radio. Please tell all of your friends that every day we are here, Sunday to Friday. A little earlier on Sunday, I'm trying to do it 8 o'clock on Sundays, so I can do something else during the day. And then late at night, Sunday, we also do one of our podcasts. So Sundays to Fridays, Freedom Fighter Radio, close to noon from Monday to Fridays, but early on Sundays, 8 o'clock on Sundays. Sunday to Friday, rain or shine, Freedom Fighter Radio. Only here on The Ordinary Joe, right here on OJTV, The Ordinary Joe Show. God bless you all, and we'll see you again next time. Please put a marker or a bookmark. Freedom Fighter Radio, only here on The Ordinary Joe. We'll see you tomorrow. God bless you, and see you tonight. Red Pill Canada podcast with four wonderful ladies. Adios. We'll see you very soon. Bye-bye.
Canada's best days are ahead of us, but we need to get the country back on its feet and back on track. 12 years in the Air Force taught me you need a plan for every mission. Canada's recovery plan will get the economy surging in the right direction for all Canadians from every walk of life. Recover 1 million jobs, tough anti-corruption laws, mental health action, securing Canadian-made supplies, balancing the budget. Enough talk. Let's get to work. Secure the future. Vote Conservative.
Please consider supporting the OJTV production costs and be an insider member for only $3 a month. Go to patreon.com/OJTV Canada. Thank you for your continued support.
Freedom Fighter Radio, what is up? Whoa!
Shout out to Freedom Fighter Radio. And Joe, you're doing great work, brother, and I love it. All right? Always.
Make sure you listen to the Freedom Fighter Radio on the Ordinary Show.
I'm on Freedom Fighter Radio on the Ordinary Joe Show. That's quite a mouthful.
Yes.
Hey guys, this is Chris Guy. Listen to Freedom Fighter Radio. They're here today, back in the blue, and so am I.
Please consider supporting the OJTV production costs and be an insider member for only $3 a month. Go to patreon.com/OJTV Canada. Thank you for your continued support. Canadians all across the country are sick and tired of the lies, the fear-mongering, and the hate speech they hear from the mainstream media. Download the free radio app, Freedom Fighter Radio. Click the link below, scan our QR code, join our mailing list, and get a free download of our Freedom Fighter Radio app only here on OJTV on The Ordinary Joe Show.
Canada's best days are ahead of us, but we need to get the country back on its feet and back on track. 12 years in the Air Force taught me you need a plan for every mission. Canada's recovery plan will get the economy surging in the right direction for all Canadians from every walk of life. Recover 1 million jobs, tough anti-corruption laws, mental health action, securing Canadian-made supplies, balancing the budget. Enough talk. Let's get to work. Secure the future. Vote Conservative.